Here we go. So today we're looking at, obviously, the Ashkeebs. These are the Auralites. Tactiles are the Amethysts, so I'll be looking at them in a sec. They are a long pole, long spring, PME housing. Let me pull up the description quick. The Auralites are a PME housing and a palm stem. Yep, correct. With a 63-gram long double extended spring. So let's take one apart here. Oh, that's definitely a long boy spring there. Top housing, it's a kind of a pale purple. The stem is a pink, and there is no factory lube. Right off the bat, the plastic looks really smooth. That long pole. Rip apart one of these switches to compare to. Let's do, since I've got one here, a stock. This is a Gateron 8008 ink. This is a stock switch as well. Some side by sides here. But here's the difference in the spring. This is the thing that's going to be most notable here. So here we go. Up above, the Gateron ink spring. That is a 63.5 gram Gateron yellow spring. On the bottom is the Ashkeebs Auralite spring. So right off the bat, look at that. Extra length. Massive amount of length on that spring. Down, mic up. So here we have a stock Auralite. Again, this is a Tecsee-made PME housing palm stem long pole long spring switch by Ashkeebs. That is what it sounds like stock. And here it is with GHV4 and a desk keys film. Here it is compared to the Durock Palm. Again, I found these two to be the most similar out of the linears that I've tried. That's the Auralite. Durock Palm. Here is the 8008 ink for reference. A little bit deeper than the other two. Here is a stock tangerine. Got that classic JWK unfilmed topping out sound. So yeah, first impressions of it, lubed and filmed. I actually really like the feel of this switch, at least not in a keyboard. There's a spring in there? Yeah, there is. The smoothness is pretty good while lubed. I would say it's not quite the weightlessness of the tangerines. But it's definitely real smooth. Very, very comparable to the Durock Palm Linear. It is a tad higher pitched. This Durock Palm Linear, by the way, does also have a slow spring in it. It's a little tiny bit different weighted. This is a 62 gram spring, whereas the Auralites come with a 63 gram. But they're similar enough. The Durock Palm is filmed with a Drukey's film. The Auralite is filmed with a Deskey's film. But considering that the Auralite is 55 cents per switch and the Durock Palm comes in at 70 cents per switch, I would say there is a pretty good competition there. In terms of push feel, it's really nice and snappy on the way up, even more snappy than the Durock Palms with the slow spring, because these are extra long, even compared to the slow springs that are in the Durock Palm Linear. Super, super snappy upstroke. Very satisfying. Okay, before I start moving all the Auralites, here are the Ashkeebs Amethysts. These are their tactile offering, their latest launch. These have a palm stem just like the Auralites do. They have a long pole and a long spring, just like the Auralites do. But these have a polycarbonate housing instead of the PME that the Auralites do. As far as their tactile profile, it is a very tactile switch. There is no pre-travel on the key press. You fall through, it's a fairly rounded bump. There's a bit of a sharp bump, like a P-shaped bump. Then there's a little bit of linear travel at the bottom of the switch. It bottoms out early due to its longer pole, and then it rises back up, as all switches do. The bottom and the top housing are this deep purple, and the stem is a pale purple that's not quite the pink of the Auralites. There is an Auralite stem. See, the Amethysts are all purple, there's no pink. Auralites have a lighter top housing, which is a different material. The Auralite housings are PME. The Amethyst housings are PC. They're opaque. 5 pins on the bottom, unlike the Naevy. Let's take it apart. Oh, before we take it apart, let's compare it to the other tactiles I have on hand. So again, here is the Amethyst switch by Ashkeebs. You can see it's a really distinct bottoming out sound because you're pushing right through that bump and it bottoms out quite early. Here's a Naevy that is lubed and filmed for reference. Here is a Zelio, which is lubed with 3204. Here is a Glorious Panda, lubed with 3204 and with a Deskey's film. Here is a Boba U4T, again with the Deskey's film and lubed with 3204. And again, here is the Amethyst. Definitely one of those switches that you kind of feel is light switchy, if you know what I mean. I'm gonna leave one stock. I'm gonna lube one, lube and film one, just to have as a reference here. So here is lubed and filmed Ashkeeb's Amethyst. Here's a stock Amethyst. Lubed and filmed again. Here is a Naevy for reference, lubed and filmed. Lubed and filmed Amethyst. So the Amethyst compared to the Navy's quite a bit of a deeper tone. It's not as tactile, obviously. The Navy's tactility is right down there with the MX Browns. And it has a little bit of a linear pre-travel, a very light bump, and then a linear travel down to the bottom. So there's a bump in the middle of the Navies. On the Amethyst, bumps right at the top, go right past it, and then you're into a bit of a linear travel at the bottom. And then you bottom out nice and hard on that longer pull, just like you do on the Naevy. Again, the housing material, this is polycarbonate compared to the nylon of the Naevy. That's probably why it's a little bit higher pitched. But it is a nice and smooth switch.